So did you know that when Robert Downey Jr. was in the MCU, he would reportedly hide snacks all over the set? This was because he continuously just wanted to be snacking, and he can be seen in many scenes just picking up snacks and offering them around to the rest of the people in that scene. I wonder if this is something he's going to continue to do now that he's returning as Doctor Doom. So did you know that the main actors for the Avengers movies weren't often filming together, but whenever they were all in town together, Chris Evans would commonly just put up a bat signal and call them all for a night out partying. And one of these bat signal text messages simply said assemble, which is honestly one of the most iconic things I've ever heard about the set of Marvel. So one of the greatest moments in Marvel cinematic history is the moment where the Hulk actually takes Loki and bashes him like a ragdoll. But you might not have known how they actually accomplished this scene. They used rope as well as many stunt performers in order to kind of get this to be happening. And they did not tell Tom Hiddleston when they were going to be pulling it. So the shot of him being yanked out of frame is genuinely the real life fear on Tom Hiddleston's face. So did you know that when Mark Ruffalo took over the role of the Hulk and Bruce Banner for the Avengers movie, he was actually supposed to have been playing him for a while? Because the director of the Hulk movie from 2008 actually wanted Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk in that movie instead of Edward Norton, but he chose Edward Norton instead because he was just a bigger name at that time. So did you know that Stan Lee's cameo in Avengers Age of Ultron is actually a nod to his military career? Although the character he was playing in that scene said that he stormed Omaha Beach, Stan Lee didn't do that. Instead, he was part of the training film division, and he worked alongside the likes of Dr. Seuss in this role. So did you know for Avengers Age of Ultron, they had to actually change the entire origin story of the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver? This is because of a rights issue, bearing in mind they sold off a lot of those sorts of rights for the X-Men to Fox. And at this point in time, Disney didn't own Fox. And so they had to shift it all about so that they were experiments done by Hydra. So did you know there were times in the comic run of Captain America where he wasn't actually Captain America? There was a period where he was Nomad, and this was after the Watergate scandal and Steve Rogers becoming quite disillusioned with the whole idea of America. And his costume in Infinity War is supposed to represent that, because Captain America or Steve Rogers did wear that sort of suit during the 1970s. So did you know that Robert Redford didn't really reprise the same character more than once? Other than when he reprised his character from Captain America Winter Soldier for Endgame. And other than a brief appearance in a film for his grandson, this was his last ever movie. So did you know for Thor Ragnarok, Helena actually claims that the Infinity Gauntlet in the vault was actually a fake. And it definitely was, because it already had all of the Infinity Stones in it. But this was actually a nod to a real life situation where they had to scrap that exact model because it was actually a right-handed glove and the gauntlet is supposed to be left-handed. So did you know there was a reference to Men in Black in Captain America First Avenger? So when Peggy and Steve both chase down the Red Skull's plane, the character of Chester Phillips presses a little red button in his car to essentially give his vehicle a bit of a boost to be able to catch up. And this button is also in Men in Black, where the actor who played Chesterfield, Tommy Lee Jones, actually was in that very similar sort of role and served a very similar purpose. So did you know that after Nick Fury fakes his death in Captain America Winter Soldier, his gravestone says the path of a righteous man? And this is a reference to Samuel L. Jackson, who said the same line in Pulp Fiction. So did you notice this reference to the X-Men in Iron Man? So when Tony's trying to outdo some of the best jets in the world, he actually tries to go up against a very specific plane, and that is the Blackbird, which is a real life jet but happens to be the exact same one the X-Men use and managed to hide underneath the massive school. So did you know that that shot in Avengers Endgame where all the female heroes come together was actually inspired by a fan's suggestion? And that just proves that the fans do have power.